There was a short period in the relationship with Harry and Meghan where he did have some power. I think we've all pinpointed that. Do you remember when he forced her to turn round at the Buckingham Palace balcony at that very famous royal event, and she didn't like it? Right? There were a few moments like that. And then the biggest moment really was when Prince Harry insisted that some suggest the love of his life, yes, that's right, Chelsea Davy, was invited to his wedding. And she rightly came along. This did not go down well with Markle. And what's fascinating is there's no picture of those two ladies together. Apparently Prince Harry was really keen to make that happen, to prove that there was no bad blood between the two girls. Now, what I would say is this, having met Chelsea Davy many years ago, a very nice, straight down the line, sensible, but very fun girl, a lot of sense of humour. Markle, yeah, not much sense of humour, very much her own importance, and this was in my brief time with her, but very savvy on the celebrity cult. So it's fascinating to see, isn't it, that while Prince Harry had a moment of, shall we say, power within the relationship, it very quickly fell apart. And what's more fascinating is that pictures like this apparently make his heart break in two. In fact, Harry is hurting. Let me explain. Morning, good to see you, chums. Thank you so much for your time. It is, look at this picture. I mean, I don't know about you, but I find this picture a little bit unsettling, particularly as a married woman of a certain age hanging off this photographer that has literally been, as I mentioned the other day, a chum for many years. Now, Jake Rosenberg clearly is a very talented photographer. I would say, looking at his portfolio, that he makes people look great, particularly women. There's no two ways about it. And all women love a great photographer, whether they know how to light, shade, or indeed remove those particular stray hairs that necessarily blight a picture. Meghan has been, saying how terrific he is and he's the only person that makes her feel great on pictures. Doesn't say much for Meghan, does it, as ever, allegedly. Now, according to a source, you see, Prince Harry was very upset. He didn't know about this picture coming out at all. He had no idea. Of course, I don't think he knows too much about what his wife's actually doing on a day-to-day basis. Some people might say just diminishing him hour by hour. Now, the reason apparently why he was upset, and you can understand this on a bigger picture, is there is Meghan when you think, there she was, if you remember, in Colombia last year, throwing her arms round in a very warm embrace, to the point where certain people suggested that she had to be parted from the husband, if you remember, of Franny. Do you remember that one? Yes. And Meghan is, as she pointed out, very tactile, one of those huggable people. We've seen that, haven't we, with various men. What's interesting here, though, according to that source, Harry just feels that this picture will put him out in a bad light. And also, and as ever, we have to say allegedly, given the ongoing traumas and battles and things that are going around the state of their marriage, which seems to keep popping up from time to time. We had that point, where they were working independently, remember that? Well, suddenly now, Harry just feels that this is adding fuel to the fire. Meghan, according to her source, basically says, well, it doesn't really matter. They know their truth, their, what's happening in their world, and this just keeps the brand alive. This is the very world that Harry allegedly wanted to step away from. When you talk to people, he was very, very deeply in love with Chelsea Davy, and it took him a long while to get over that. Clearly, he thought he'd found that in Meghan. But Chelsea didn't want the limelight. She wanted to step away, and has done very successfully, forming her own business, happily married, children. You see, this was the life that Harry truly was looking for. What he's found is a wife that clearly loves the limelight and is not too shameful, of course, to hang off any man to make sure that she keeps herself in that attention as long as the picture makes her look beautiful. Jake, I've been told, is a very nice, pliable man and will do whatever it takes to make sure to keep the client happy. You get the picture. All the while, of course, Prince Harry has to endure snide remarks about his wife draped over an exceedingly good-looking man, all in arty black and white, while he has to go on the stage, as he did out in New York City for the New York Times, to say, well, people have got it wrong. Pictures like this simply start up the story once again, and Harry is very unhappy. Neil Sean, Kensington, London.